woo, 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 woo. Hey, I don't know what that sound was, but I felt like doing it. What's going on? Oh, I think my $2 tripod has now died. Hold on, let me fix this and come back. Well, that was fun. Hey, you rarely get to see the red door open. Check that out. All right, this is the quickest, you can tell I'm not ready for a video, right? This is the quickest of quickest videos. I figured out why my last video was so dark. I didn't have my computer screen to highlight, to light up my face. That's the phrase I was looking for. This is a burning question video, despite the fact that I am way off track. Way off track. I kind of delved, what the heck is the past tense of that? Find out and let me know. Comment section below. Oh, wait, that's the language I'm supposed to know. Tough. In my last video, when I was talking about the italki lesson that I had, I just briefly was saying that I want to learn some of the emergency language in Chinese, where if I get brave enough to start speaking this to people in the wild, what do I say other than, can you repeat that? Which I'm not even sure would work very well. It seems to be a very fast-paced, you either can say it or you can't kind of language society here, but I'm gonna try anyway. So my burning question is, what is the emergency language that you... Something really weird just fell in my kitchen. Hold on. That was so strange. It was just a bag falling over, but it seriously sounded like somebody fell coming through the window. Which the window's like this big, so that makes no sense. Okay. Burning questions. When you first learned how to speak Chinese, or, and this is very Chinese specific because the script, the components of the language are so different than other languages. So if you don't know Chinese, you can feel free to listen to this video, but you probably won't be able to comment if you haven't tried to use the language orally before. So what kind of language did you use to get people to say things again, to get clarification on the language? I kind of started to go into this in the last video very briefly, and I realized it was an entire burning questions video. So what is that language? Because in English, for example, and in a lot of Romance languages that use the Arabic numbers, Roman script. Yes, I had to think about that. There's, did you hear that? That's my washing machine. It makes a cute little noise when it's done. I am so distracted. You can say, how do you spell that? But because the Hanzi characters are building up the radicals and the components into a character and characters into words, do you say, what is that character? I mean, how would you even do that? Do you make people write stuff down? That does not seem like a really good way to communicate orally. So what is the emergency language that you used when you started using Chinese, or even now? Because honestly, with English, I ask for clarification all the time with people who have different accents than I do, from people that come from different vocabulary bases than I do, with the people that I know that speak British English, Australian English, Canadian English, or even a different form of American English. There's different, you guys know this, there's different forms of the language. So even now in English, I'll say, well, depending on how informal we are with each other, I'll either say, can you repeat that? Or what did you just say? Or huh? I mean, it depends on the level of formality, right? So there's different questions, or how do you spell, like when somebody tells me their name and they have a really unique name, I will say in English, how do you spell that? Because I'm a really visual person. If I can picture it being written, I'm more likely to remember their name. So there's that. So I know the emergency language in English. I know a little bit in Spanish. I know none of it in German. But it's interesting, after that trip, I'm counting German as a language that I know something of. Very little. Oh my God. Like minus? Can you know a negative amount of a language? But I feel like since I had the exposure in Germany last month, was that really only last month? I feel like because I could read some of the language that I can add that. Is that cheating? Yes. Am I going to do it anyway? Mm-hmm. Oh, there goes my drink holder. So what is the emergency language that you used in Chinese? And if you have a comparison, if you studied in a textbook in a classroom, with a textbook or in a classroom, what was the difference between what people actually use in real life and what is in the textbooks? Is it the same? Is it in the textbooks at all? or is it really, really different from what you're taught to what is out there in the world? Because I am interested in the speaking part of what I guess I'm now learning in Chinese, which I didn't even realize I wanted to until very recently. I'm very interested in what is used. As far as that goes, I don't need the overly formal stuff that I'm going to be reading. I want stuff that is used. So I guess I'm working on the functional side of speaking now, which I don't have time for. But curiosity is what leads my motivation. And ignoring it I'll have a big blackout period of not studying again. I do not want that. So, emergency language. Appreciate your input. You don't have to translate it if you know it in Chinese, or if you know it if you know it in the characters, if you know it in Pinyin, however, or if you know it in English. Just let me know what the phrases are, and I'll throw that into an italki lesson and do some practice with that. I'm not sure that repeating stuff in the wild will really help me understand it, but with time it might. I don't know. Like the word tamen, which I'm probably saying with the wrong tones, which is they. I hear that all the time ever since I learned it accidentally in one of the sentences in the reading book that I'm using. So, stuff sticks out, and most languages have a very frequent kind of list of words that people use, and the more I hear stuff and the more I say stuff and the more I ask people to repeat stuff, then there you go. I'm also thinking of not visually recording, but like audio recording when I try to speak to people when I finally get up that courage. Even if it is in that, like what I was using in Spain, that very functional, like store or restaurant language kind of way. Something, start. And that is honestly, to be quite honest, to be very, very, very honest with you, what I'll probably be using my Chinese for at least a long time. Because let's face it, to get to the interesting conversations I'd like to have, that takes a huge amount of vocabulary. And I need a huge amount of reading input in order to get that, because those are the topics that I would prefer to speak about instead of the general 5 questions of, let's see, what are they? Like, where are you from? What's your name? Do you have children? Have you eaten yet? That's probably the first one, right? Are you married? Why don't you have children yet would be the question that would come to me, and I have to practice not rolling my eyes because I hate that question. That's really personal, folks. I'd rather people ask my weight than ask me why I don't have children. That's how long I've been in Asia. I've got comfortable with one and not another. Right. So anyway, that is a total and complete insensitive cultural moment right there, but there you have it. Over a decade in Asia and combined, and I still don't like that question. Although now that I'm married, it's more of an uncomfortable question, because then they start staring at my stomach and wondering what's wrong with me. Oh dear. It sucks to be sensitive. Yeah, so burning question, let's focus on that. And I still don't know how to edit these videos very well since YouTube took off their editor. And yeah, so I'm just going to leave this rambly, odd cultural part in there because that's what I do. Thank you so much for your input. I'm going to take your information and go straight to an italki lesson, probably on Friday or Saturday, depending on what happens at work. I am traveling this week, very, very close by, but and I will be studying, but I don't know if I will have the Wi-Fi ability to do italki. So we'll see what happens with that, but definitely Saturday, if nothing else. Oh, I do have a lot of silence in the apartment on Saturday. That might be a good time. Anyway, I'm sort of thinking out loud, but appreciate your input, and Satyan. Goodbye.